And welcome to Monday Night Live. I am Steve Lee. How are you all doing? Welcome to the YouTube, the tube of views. What's happening, everyone? Hopefully your weekend was great. We have a fun project for today. We're going to paint a little demented rabbit. I do have a little bit of housekeeping. There is nothing new, so that's good. Or everything it is new is the same. But I wanted to give a huge thanks to the people who gave super chats last week. Dave the Bug, Gregory, Honey Rivera, Brian Moore, and Michael McClung. That type of thing keeps things rolling, as well as anyone who purchased 543s last week. Those two things keep Monday night going, so I cannot thank you enough. A couple other little bits of housekeeping. There are a few questions that I missed last week, so I wanted to kind of address those. Bobby asked if I was ever considering classes over Zoom. Right now, no, because there's not a lot of time to devote to do that correctly. But it's always on the kind of on the horizon. You know, I love to teach, and that might be something that does happen. I just don't have any kind of timeline on that. Wayne asked if I was keeping my Facebook page up because I've moved the live stream over to YouTube, and I am definitely keeping the Facebook page going. While that is a seething cesspool of AI garbage, I'm going to do my best to keep my real art over there. And finally, Grumpy RC Flyer asked, what gloves do I use when I'm painting? The little painty gloves. And all these are those inexpensive cotton gloves. I get them on Amazon. You can buy them in, bags of whatever, 50, or the one size fits all. And I bought these originally to handle artwork here and also to work on glass. But when they get all nasty like this, I just cut off the fingers and I use them for paint gloves. So they work out well. So that's your stuff. So we're going to get right to it. Let's look at some paintings and we'll get to work. So I'm going to switch to this one, I think. Yeah. Yay, and I say hello. I say hello to everyone. Dan Mayer, what's up? Rick Lotta, hello. Vic Alassi, what's up? Vic, did you like my Salvador Dali? Thank you. Michael McClung, what's up? Gary, what's going on, buddy? James McCully, what's happening, buddy? Happy spring. I know, it is spring. I love it. So I have 3 paintings to show you. If you are new to the Monday Night Shenanigans, because you are not usually on Facebook and you're new to the tube, the way you win one of these paintings is simply give me a suggestion to paint. So type in 543. That lets me know that that's your suggestion. And then just give me a suggestion for a black and white painting. Could be anything. Doesn't matter. And then your name is entered in the hat. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. You do have to do this live. You can't do it after the fact in the comments, so keep that in mind. And then the other crazy thing too is Facebook allowed me to message people directly, but the tube does not, at least as far as I can tell. So if you win, just check back on any of my social medias. I got to get better about putting a post up on YouTube the following day. But the winner will be announced, and then if you weren't here when it was drawn, you still win a painting, but you just have to get a hold of me. So we're doing that. Let me see if I can get comments over here. Over here. Maybe with a quick refresh. Yes. Look at that. A quick refresh. No. Yes. Yes. How are we doing? We're doing good. Technology. I love it. Donna, the lovely Donna. Hello, Wayne. Wayne, I did answer your question about Facebook if you weren't on. I am keeping my Facebook page and my Instagram, and I'll just keep posting. But yeah, as far as the live streams, Facebook is abandoning real creators, or at least that's the way it feels. So I'm going to still post my artwork there and still interact with people there, but until they straighten their crap out, I'm going to do the live streams here because it works out better. So let's look at the paintings today, children. All right, I've got all the notes. That's good. Here we go. First up, Mr. Brian Moore, who's going to be late today because he's doing baseball pictures with his children, which is awesome. Brian has asked a bunch of weeks for a Tesla coil. So this is what I got for the Tesla coil. I think I've done a Tesla coil before, but I couldn't remember, and he's been asking for it for a while. So, ooh, I can do this. Can I do this? Yeah, I can do this. Just gotta lighten up that. Lighten up, Steve. Lighten up. This way? Yeah. And I gotta focus it. Focus. I didn't set up this camera. There we go. There's my Tesla coil. So, of course, the Tesla coil was really invented by Nikola Tesla, who was born July 10th, 1856. He was the engineer, futurist, and inventor. Tesla was operating without a degree, which is pretty interesting. Tesla found practical experience working early on, and then with the Edison Machine Works in the U.S., his contributions in induction motors and polyphase AC patents became the cornerstone of the company's work, and as well as making Tesla famous-ish in that realm, as well as got him a bunch of money at the time. He ended up moving on to develop his own inventions, including the first wireless remote control boat, which is pretty cool. So, of course, there's a lot more to Tesla. He was kind of a crazy guy, but I call this one the real Tesla. Also, right before I started the feed, which I'm pretty excited about because Vistaprint is awesome, and this is no commercial for them. They don't do anything for me other than fulfill my orders. But I got all my certificates in early. I ran out of these because I'm a dumbass. So I put in an emergency order, and they weren't supposed to be until the end of the month, but they're here now. So if you are one of the people who have got a piece of artwork without one of the certificates, and you would like one, just let me know, and I will do that. And if not, I'll come with it. Michael, also, you're here. Michael McClung, congratulations on finishing your epic VW painting. If you're not subscribed to Michael's channel, do that first. And then he's been working on a epic rusty VW van painting that's in front of this building with 1 billion signs on it. And he just finished it. He crushed it. There's Brian Moore. Brian Moore, there you go. Your Tesla coil. Hooray. All right. Next up. My buddy Mike Stevenson last week asked for a 1963 Jeep Gladiator J200. I love when suggestions are super specific. So that's what that is. Weird thing about this, and I'm going to give you the history about, or a little bit of info about the Gladiator. When I didn't remember, or I didn't know what this was really going to look like before I started doing the research on it. But as soon as I saw the pictures of it, I had a matchbox of a Jeep Gladiator, and it immediately came back to me like I was hit with a ton of bricks. It was pretty crazy. Yes, Gary, the flux capacitor was not invented by Tesla. It was invented by Dr. Brown. Wait, yes, Dr. Brown. That was his name, right? I should be shot for being an 80s kid and not remember Back to the Future. Yeah, Doc Brown. Yeah. Anyway, the 1963 Gladiator. So the J Series, or the Jeep pickup, was first introduced by Willys Motors in 1957. They produced it for a few years, and then it was taken over by Kaiser Jeep in 1963. The pickup came in multiple styles to allow it to perform many roles, like pickup truck, obviously, but it also had a ramp body to it. There was a camper version of it. So it really was kind of the utility all type of thing. The Gladiator offered the 230 cubic inch Tornado engine, and that engine had its claim to fame was it was the first overhead cam motor for a U.S. built truck. So there is your Gladiator. Mike, awesome suggestion. What else we got? Yeah, Ron's got it. See, if you want to get your painting for next week, just do what Ron did. Type 543 and then give me a suggestion. Could be absolutely anything. There's Mike. All right. Flux capacitor. I know, yes, Gary. The Gladiator did not need to be very aerodynamic, so that's good. Now the next one and final one. This one also has been asked for a number of times. First by Ian Hart many times. And then last week we had a kind of an influx of a bunch of people asking for the same painting all of a sudden. So this one, obviously, like I said, was suggested by Ian Hart. But then last week, Michael McClung asked for it. I think he's asked for it before. And then Steve Butkus asked for it too. And what the common theme was Pink Floyd's Flying Pig. So I finally did this one. Ian's been asking forever, but I finally get it done. The original pig was designed by Roger Waters and was created by artist Jeffrey Shaw in 1976 for Pink Floyd's Animals album. The original pig was 12 meters tall and was filled with helium and made its debut during the 1977 tour for Animals. The pig would make its appearance above all the amp stacks. There was a great back and forth fight after Roger Waters left Pink Floyd, who had the rights to the pig, which is pretty interesting if you ever get into it. The original pig flew over Battersea Power Station and earned the name Algie. So Algie? Yeah, Algie. So this is that's what I call this painting, and I did my little version of it. So there's your pig. Yes, yeah, this was the building is yeah, I know they recreated this in 20-something, 11 maybe. Yeah, so there you go. So that one, there's all your three. All your three. Now you may ask, well, Steve, which one is the time lapse for tomorrow? And it's none of these. Hooray. If you are a member on YouTube, you will know what the time lapse is. What I decided to do last week, let me switch over this so I can, there we go. What I decided to do is finish up last week's demo painting, the leprechaun. We did what we did last Monday, and then I really wanted to show you the kind of the completion of that. So I did a time lapse of the rest of it. So that'll pop up tomorrow at 10 a.m. right here on YouTube on my channel. And if you are a member, you already saw it because you get early access. But I will show you a picture of it. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I do have a picture of it. I just need to switch to the picture of it. There we go. Yeah, here's mine. This is on its way to Gary, so I can't show you the original. But here's how it came out. And I did a variegated gold leaf around the outside edge. And it's difficult to tell, but his first molar there, Scott McKay originally when he did his, and Gary got it, did a gold leaf tooth on it, so I couldn't resist, and that's a gold leaf tooth as well. It's kind of at a bad angle in this photo, so you don't see it very well, but it is there. But that's how it came out. So if you want to see this, the only thing I didn't time lapse was the gold leaf because it's a pain in the butt, but all the painting is time lapse, so you can check it out. So there you go. Hooray! All right, so someone's going to win one tonight. Again, if you win, you could choose one of these, or you could choose any of the ones on the site. You know how it works. Or you can use it as a credit. You can't buy Oreos with it because I don't give you actual money for it, but if you get a painting and then sell the painting, you can use that money for Oreos. So that's good. But let's get... yeah, if you'll indulge me, I got one more little bit of show and tell because I'm pretty excited about this. So I mentioned a while ago, and you guys have seen this, the painting I did of the one of the hallways in the Butler Museum, and of the Audrey Flack sculpture, Queen Caroline. And so this is the painting for it. But what I've done, or I'm working towards, is getting this framed. Now, if you've been keeping track, you know that I got a 1961 frame from the Butler. So that's really pretty amazing. So that's the frame for this. The other thing I've got, too, is I've got I got marble from pieces of marble, broken pieces from the flooring, this flooring down here. And what I've done is I've did a couple test panels. So these are just MDF. Brian, thank you, buddy. These are just MDF. Sorry, MDF. And what I did was I crushed up the marble and I kind of glued it the way it's going to be. And this is going to be the background behind this. The whole thing is going to be this crushed marble. So what I did was, is that it? No. There it is. So what I did was I did a couple little test panels so I could get the finish down, and I'll show you this close up. So what I've decided on is this, and it's a shiny clear 2K clear coat, And what I really like about it is how it just kind of gives that marble its life back, even though it's crushed up. So that's going to be the background behind all this, which is going to be a blast. So anyway, so there you go. How do you get that clear so smooth every time I sand my UVLS gloss? I ruin it. That's the reason why, Pat, is because this is automotive clear. This isn't UVLS or, you know, any of the gloss. So there's a lot of clear on that, and it's buffed and polished. That's how that looks that way. Great question. This is the same thing, but because it's on such smaller pieces, I don't have to, obviously, I don't have to buff this, which is nice, but that's how it's going to be. So I'm waiting on a few bits and pieces for this frame. I'm working on a new security type of system and a new hanging system for these small frames. So I'm waiting on that. But anyway, I thought I'd give you the update on that. But let's get to painting, because painting is fun. I already got orders, Ron. Nice. Ian, I did your Pink Floyd pig. So yay. All right, let's get to it. So what we're going to do tonight, and before you ask, I was going to do bids on this. I don't know. I don't know. I'll let you guys decide. If you guys want me to do bids on this, just type in bid. If you want it just to go up for just a whatever price, I can do that too if that's less obnoxious. So you guys let me know. But what I did was I got this creepy little, this thing is really weird, but this is what we get from, you know, the dollar store, and, you know, what I guess Chinese manufacturers think we like for Easter. So you get this tweaked out rabbit that looks like he's, like Marge said, like he's had way too many special gummies. And I thought it would be fun to paint this kind of twisted and zombie-like because he's already got the tweaked out eyes. And I got a bunch of plans for it. So we're just going to start digging into this. It's a little plaster thing that you're supposed to paint yourself. It comes with a bunch of crappy paints and a little useless paintbrush. But what I've done so far is, because this is raw plaster, I sprayed the rest of it with Autoborn sealer. So this guy's ready to go. It's all sealed and ready to paint. I did leave the bottom open, and that's, I mean, this is totally, you know, dried for plaster, but it allows any kind of moisture to move in and out of it so it doesn't, you know, eventually crack or whatever. So, yeah. Yeah, but isn't it crazy? Yeah, seriously, this bunny's got some serious issues. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Like I said, I want to do kind of a zombie type thing with it. I've got plans, like it says Easter across his little egg there. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to repaint that to say Fester. And then I think the egg, I'm going to paint it like a brain. So it's going to be like he's holding this brain and it says Fester on it. But we're going to kind of work on his face to start, because I think that'll be fun. Yeah. So there we go. He is severely tweaked. I love him. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to have some fun with him tonight. And, you know, I mean, these things are supposed to kind of be semi-educational or, you know, inside look. And, you know, I try to do a bunch of serious art, but I can't deny being a total idiot sometimes. And this is a perfect example of that. You know, sometimes you just gotta, like the New York painting is crazy and it's involved and it's nonstop, and it's, you know, it's going to be an epic painting in the you know, like the list of paintings that I've done. And sometimes I need a break for that, and that's what this is. But there's going to be some stuff we'll talk about that will still apply. All right. Timothy, John Luke Smith. Tim's here, and he's still got the wrench, so if Tim's hanging around, he can keep the wrench. Yeah. Also, while I'm getting ready here, next week, we're going to start a new razor blade painting on Monday night. It's going to be a, you know, full-blown painting, so we're not going to get a ton of it done, but if you guys are interested on how I start those and haven't watched the open studio, you guys will be in for a treat. So what I'm going to do first Since I'm going to use the gray, this Otterborn is the kind of like the underpainting. I'm going to start with a little bit of like a grayish green. And this is very similar to the way that I kind of attacked the Leprechaun last week. I've got where the Leprechaun was overall green and I just started with like kind of a little bit darker green. The same thing is going to hold true here. Kelly Drake, what's up? Hello. And thank you for everyone who's jumping on. You know, my biggest fear having a reasonably sized Facebook following and then a smaller, much smaller YouTube following was that when I switched over to YouTube that I wouldn't get, you know, the engagement because it wasn't going to be pushed out. But actually I'm getting the same, if not better. And that's all because of you guys. So thank you so much. All right, so what I've got a gray, but it's a little bit lighter. So just like the, do I want to do the eyes first? Nah, we'll get to the eyes, the tweaky eyes. I'm going to darken this a little bit too and get you a little bit closer because we're just going to work on his face. So that's all you need to kind of be locked in on. So the eyes are going to be like, I'm feeling yellow. Like yellowish, reddish, like really bizarre tweakiness, zombie-ish. So that's what I was saying. You know, I could paint that now, and but I think I'll nail it in a little while. That'll be better. I hear volume, and I don't know. Oh, it's coming from the tablet. Got it. Okay, there we go. Now you're ready. So let's see if this is light enough. So what I'm going to do is the same thing I did with the light color last week, where I put the highlights in first. I'm going to do the same thing with this guy. So even though he's a three-dimensional object, I'm going to treat it like a two-dimensional object, you know? So the eye sockets above his eyebrows, I'm going to start by putting in those highlights there. And he's going to have a very skull-like kind of feel. Not crazy like he is a skull, but he's going to have that sunken skin type of look. So methamphetamine bunny, yes, Patrick. And thank you again, Pat, for the amazing glow in the dark Cape Cod potato chip ring. I wore it again this week. There was an opening at the Butler for an amazing artist named Chuck Olson. And I went to the opening and I had my Cape Cod ring on, which was awesome. So thank you. So again, this is just kind of like playing around. One of the things actually that Chuck had said, which I really love, Olson is a more of an abstract artist that uses a little bit of realism type of elements in his abstract art, but totally different than what I do. But one of the things I really loved that he said was that when he's developing a painting, it's kind of like a conversation. Like he puts down a mark on his canvas, and then that mark is there. It's indelible, and then it speaks back to him. Like if he puts another mark on and it doesn't work in the conversation, it'll tell him, you know. And it's the same thing. Like for all type of art, it's like kind of a cool thing that, you know, you put something down, you put a mark down, and it says, yeah, no, that's not going to work, you know? And it was a neat way to kind of think about it because it helps you from getting kind of bogged down in your work where you feel like everything has to be like the perfect mark, you know? So when you're in a conversation, everything you say isn't the perfect thing. In fact, if you're me, most of the things you say are not the perfect thing, and you have to like rethink them or re-engage them, and it's cool. So anyway. Terry's Turbo Crystals. Yes, exactly. So again, with this lighter color, I don't have to be super like, oh my gosh, this needs to be exactly where it needs to be, or I have to figure out exactly what's going on here. I could just kind of mess around with it and see where it goes. Now this is pretty bright, so I'm going to use this color to start basing his eyes, because again, his eyes are going to be some sort of bright color, whether it's orange to red or red to green or yellow to green or something. They're going to need that white base on them to be fully tweaked out. So And if you guys, oh yeah, Pat, no kidding. I love that thing. In fact, I have to stop myself from bringing the UV flashlight with it so I can charge it up. But yeah. I'm going to concentrate on his eyes right now because I know I want to get that right. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with his nose and his teeth and his mouth. I think I'm just going to have a bunch of dribbled mess coming out of his face. But his eyes, I really want that sunken in kind of skull look. I did consider actually carving on this, but I thought it would, in the end, it would be more funny if you could actually see. Like I was going to take out the E and turn it into an F and then recarve the A and, put in, I have modeling compound that I could have, put in the rest of the letters, like the E instead of the A. But then I'm like, nah, it'd be more funny if Easter is still there. You can actually see it, but I just painted over it. If we have time, I will do some of the brain because I think that's going to be good. Yeah, good. See, that's what I'm talking about, Pat. It's like, these things we start have to like kind of bring us back and like answer what we put down, So I like that. I loved when he said that because I'm like, all right, so I don't do anywhere near what he does for work. It's really abstract. And, I need abstract art to be explained to me because I don't know it and I don't do it. I am learning, like I am making an effort to understand it. So to hear him talk was like, it was so weird that it was like, oh my gosh, it's the same thing I go through. You know what I mean? So it's fun that, you have a completely different style of art, yet we share so many things in the process, which is wonderful. So anyway, Chuck's a great guy. So if you're in the area, if you're in the Northeast Ohio area and you want to see a really good show, his show just opened Sunday and it'll be up for, usually they're up for about a month, a little bit longer. So, all right. Yeah, I think I'm good with this gray color now. I think I've done all I can do. So I'm going to switch now to a slightly darker gray. Again, if I was doing a 543 and it was just, what do I do with that? And it was just, get it done quick. Then I would just switch to black right now and just like kind of fade it. But because I have time and I want this to come out right, I'm going to mix a darker gray specifically. So that way I have a lot more control over it. If I have just black and I'm just trying to control it with the airbrush, there's way, way, way more chance that something can go sideways. So we try not to do that. Yes, his eyes are definitely the most prominent feature because he is tweaking quite hard. What else do I got going on today? Kyle! What's up, Kyle? Ow. I just stabbed myself. Yes, so next week, the super secret preview is, you guys know I got this Infinity CR Plus from Spray Gunner, and I've been having a lot of fun with it. So what I like to do when I get a brush from a company that I really respect, and I do respect Harder and Steenbeck quite a bit, I want to do a razor blade for them with this brush, and so that's what I'm going to start next week with you guys, which will be fun. Spot putty. Yes. So Michael has a great idea for another one of these creepy little things. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see what he does with it. So I'm not going to kind of spoil it, but again, if you're not following Michael, check out Michael. He is going to put the spot filler on his. So this is a gray that's just slightly darker than the Otterborn sealer. So this now, like what I can do is I can recarve, like again, if I'm having a conversation and those whites didn't quite go real well, I can use this to go back in and say, okay, what didn't work here? And, if the white kind of didn't look quite right or, didn't really like kind of do what I needed it to do, I can use this to go back in and goof around with it. Now, if I really wanted to take my time with this, I would mix up a color that matched the Otterborn sealer exactly. So that way, I could literally erase the white. You know, I wouldn't even have, I mean, I could just spray it out. So as I'm doing these adjustments, I'd be getting back to the original color. I'm going to actually darken this up just a shade so that I can get a little bit more progress on this. But again, walk a mile, Kyle. I love that, James. That's awesome. That's amazing. I love that. So my point for showing you this is if you're doing this type of stuff, whether it's paintbrush or airbrush, know that you don't have to nail it in one shot. You know what I mean? You can jump back and forth, and you can take it really slow by the way that you mix your paint. You know, you see these people, and you know, I've seen them where they seem like they just go in and they throw down these beautiful paint strokes and they're perfect and everything is wonderful, and they walk away from the painting, especially with the internet now. It seems like, oh, it took me 10 seconds to do this reel and the painting looks amazing, when in reality the painting took a long time and it was a lot of back and forth. So I really want people to know that it's really okay to take your time with stuff. It's really okay to know that things don't always just magically pop out the way they're supposed to. In fact, at least for me, you know, it never does. You know what I mean? It's always a tractor pull, which I like. Mr. Garcia, Chris Garcia, your painting left today. So you should see that. New York gets it in about midweek. So keep an eye out for that, Chris. Chris won, and so he has his painting coming. This doesn't seem very dark at all. Like, it's good, but it's developing super slow, which is fine. But I'm slightly impatient right now. So I'm gonna add a bunch of black to not a bunch, but I'm gonna really darken this down with black. So I just added some black to this. Yeah, no kidding. Patricia, hello, Patricia. Yes, Patricia got her 543s in. Yeah, that's probably too dark now, but that's okay. I think I can work with that. I'm going to have to thin that out, though. So what else is going on here? Let's see. Oh, I've got the background pretty much set for that dollar bill painting now. I took the mask off for the dollars. It's not quite finished. It's probably, the background's probably about 80%. But that's kind of when I pull the masking off, because if I were to go to 100% on the background on that and then pull the masking, then it would have a very like cut up feeling, like jigsaw feeling. There'd be a super hard edge that I wouldn't be able to battle back from. But since it's only about 20% left, I can kind of go back and forth with it now as I'm doing the foreground, and that will kind of tie it all together. So there we go. Meth Bunny. Yeah, so it's definitely starting with the creepy eye sockets. And again, I don't want this to look skull-like. I just want to be able to see that skull shape underneath the creepy skin. So we'll get make sure we get wrinkles on this guy, because the wrinkles will show the skin where you wouldn't necessarily do these on a skull. You would have more of a texture. But since we got skin here, we're going to do that. Can you see that side of him? Kind of, sort of. Turn him this way. You guys get the full-on look. Oh, sorry. And I'm using my my patented pool ball holder that I built for the Crazy Thing pool ball challenge way back, that I've never used since, but I get to use it now. So again, I haven't been keeping track. Do you guys want to bit on him, or do you want me to just throw him up when he's done? This is definitely going to be the train spotting bunny. Oh, Brian, that's awesome. Brian, I love that. So Brian, what Brian's talking about is he was having fun being challenged by other live streamers telling him, what his next painting should be. So I had suggested that, like a skull that was like had a lot of like water effects on it, because I've never really seen that. And he took it and went with it. That's awesome. Yeah, Kyle, I'm sure exercising outside or walking outside is totally a different motivating factor instead of being inside. So we're going to get the inside parts of his, like these eye sockets, pretty dark, and then we'll just kind of have the flappy like skin folds on the outside here. Oh, this is fun. And again, I don't want to get this super, super crazy dark because I don't want it to seem like a skull. So we got to keep the skin flaps, all the flappy skin going. I think at this point, you guys are focused, right? I think at this point I want to kind of get the color in on his eyes so that I don't have to fight this too much. Lawn darts. The original lawn darts, Patrick. So the ones that they don't have anymore because people started like killing themselves and we can't have nice things, which is unfortunate. Not the killing part, but that people couldn't play lawn darts safely without skewering people. I used to love lawn darts. I come from a very, very competitive horseshoe playing family, so lawn darts was the logical alternate game. So I've got opaque yellow here. This is Hansa yellow? No, bismuth. It's bismuth. I always get them confused. That's Hansa, more kind of a golden yellow. But I wanted the sick, twisted green yellow, which is bismuth. So we're just going to paint the whole creepy eye here, and we'll figure out what the rest of it is going to be after. But this way I get the color in, so then I'm not worrying about it after. I could put the details in on these eyes, but see how I just have a little bit of overspray on this side of, got a little bit of yellow on this side. I can clean that up, as I'm working. Where if I do it at the end and all the, the detail is in, then it becomes like, okay, now I have to work hard to fix it. But at this stage, I'm still got a lot of detail to do on those eye sockets, so it's easy to do those and then kind of clean it up. Bug, what's up, buddy? Play at your own risk. I know, Kyle. That's the thing. Like, you just... All right, so you're throwing these, like, lead-weighted metal spikes. So what do? You don't stand in front of them. It's pretty self-explanatory. That's why we can't have nice things. All right, do I want to keep going with the gray? Or do I want to finish the eyes? I suppose I could finish the eyes and then go from there. What I would normally do is just use this color everywhere to kind of start locking in all kinds of things. But I think what we'll do is we'll bounce around. Well, we'll do the black just to kind of get it in, and then, yeah. Yeah, Kyle, that's exactly it. It's like when they have to have, like, warning signs on coffee cups to say that the coffee is hot. And, like when you buy a jar of like a jar of peanuts from the grocery store, that it has to have warnings on it to say that your jar of peanuts contains peanuts. I mean, I get that we need like proper labeling and warnings and stuff, but really? Like, really? I don't understand that. Makes me sad. My eyes like that all the time. Ian, no. All right. I think before I do the black, though, since I'm feeling, what are we thinking? We're thinking green, right? Green eyes, or yeah, because that's sickly, right? Zombie-ish. So we're gonna do green. I was gonna do like orange and red, but that seems more like evil. So the green seems more zombie-ish. So let me find moss green. Careful, your wet paint is wet. Exactly. I don't know. I don't get it. Ooh, am I out of moss green? I do need to get more moss green. I use this color a lot. And ladies and gentlemen, I know if you're a Createx fan, why isn't this coming out? This is all I have left for 4011. So I have 1 ounce left. And then I will be switching over to the 4021. Finally, it's only been out for like a year. But I had a lot of 4011, and it wasn't like the switch between 4012, the old reducer, and what is going on here? It isn't like the switch between the old reducer 4012 and 4011. The 4011 works for me really well. So I was just going to use it up. I still have a ton of 4012, which I don't think I'll ever use other than to clean airbrushes. And I didn't really want that to happen with the 4011. Patty, I was thinking of you today too, because I've got my model sitting there that I haven't worked on in probably a year when I did those first couple of Model Mondays. I do need to get back to that too. So it was sitting there. I had like a minute of free time, and I'm like, oh, I should do the model. But then that minute was gone, and here we are. Roy Johnson, what's up, buddy? All right, so that's just straight up moss green. I did reduce it a little bit. And again, to do this now just gives me the opportunity to fix it later. You know what I mean? Around the edges, I mean. And it's okay, you know, I'll probably use this moss green in the skin as well, because I really want that zombie-ish look. There we go. There we go. I know that probably, well, you can see a little bit of it, but you'll see it on this one because it's better angle. But all I'm doing is just spraying this just along the outside edge of his iris here. And now, again, moss green, the greens and the browns and those colors don't really spray very well. So what I did was I added a little bit of 4050 to it so that helps smooth it out and helps it spray a little bit better. There we go. And I think, how can I not? I don't know. I really feel like the inside of his eye, his pupil should be red. We're going to try that and see what it looks like. I can always repaint him. So let's see, red, which we are just going to use straight up Pyrrole red. Do I want to do this? Is this going to work? Is it going to work? Sure, why not? Oh, the camera's bumped over though, but we'll fix that. Yes, I need to swap out my sheet too, but it'll work for now. Let's try red. We'll see what it looks like. If it looks like garbage, then we'll just swap it to black. It's easy enough to repaint it black. It would not be easy to go the other way, though. You know, if I did this black and then wanted to... Bug! Thank you, buddy. If I wanted to go from black and then I didn't like it and said, oh, let me try red, I'd have to repaint the iris white. This is opaque red. This is Pyrrole red, you know, opaque, but it doesn't, I mean, it's not strong enough to cover black, you know, without building a lot of it up. All right, so you didn't really see that because it was tilted away, but you're going to see that on this guy. Here we go. It's a little bit of extra there. But that's, yeah, all right, that's going to work. All right, let me, we're going to finish up the detail on his eyes. I think we're going to take out some Viridian here. Oop, too much Viridian. Oops, again, I'm falling all apart here. Viridian's a really bright green, so it's going to stand up really well on the outside edge of this and give it a little bit of cool tweaky texture. Just kind of those little lines in his iris. And again, you know, I still have to finish the skin around his eye sockets, so anywhere where that oversprayed a little bit, you know, I can address that when I get there. Yes, Michael's painting did really turn out great. I'm going to grab a touch of the bismuth yellow here, put that out. And I'm going to fix that little drop of red that kind of got away. Ooh, I didn't shake that up well enough. Well, we'll see if this is going to work. I didn't shake it up, so there's a lot of binder in here, and that's going to make it more transparent, but I think this yellow is strong enough to just kind of do the job. Yep, it is. All right. That's sufficiently zombie-like. Now, do I have that gray still in here? I think I do, right? Yeah. No, I have green in here. I'm going to have to jump back to the gray. Okay. Yeah, Michael, no, don't ever... Yeah, Michael, know what's nice about that? About, you know, when you do that? Again, it's what we were talking about before. The new way of the interwebs is that everything seems like it happens within 15 seconds. But, you know, you kind of showed what's involved with getting a painting like that done. And I think other aspiring artists need to see that because, again, we're in a society now where everything seems like it's done in 5 seconds and it's super easy and everyone's super talented, and that can be devastating if you're sitting in your little studio and you're struggling trying to get through something, wondering why, you know, it's taking you so, not you personally, but it's taking you so long when everyone else seems to be moving at like light speed. But when you show the process like you did, Michael, it really puts into perspective how much work goes into something like that. And I think it's an important thing. So, Ryan. There we go. Tim knows. The painting decides when it's done. All right. I don't know that I need to clean a lot of that up. I think I'm just going to jump to the black because I can. I need to learn how to tighten my paintings up. They look fuzzy. Brian, just keep painting. What's going to happen is your experience with the tool is going to keep increasing. And here's the thing. You're never going to feel like you get to where you want to be if you're lucky. You know, you're always going to say, okay, now I got to get to this next level. And then I got to get to this next level. That's what you want. So don't be discouraged about it. Just know that you just got to keep working on it. Paint every day, you know. So I've got really reduced black here now. So let's see how this goes. I may want to add a little bit of white to it. We'll see how it goes. But also this is me being impatient, saying, you know, like I want to get his eyes done before the break. And the last step for me is the darkest darks and the lightest lights. So again, if it's not ready for it and I push it, I'll end up just kind of washing the whole thing out. It'll be too dark. And what I'm specifically looking at is the value right around that green. Because the darker that I kind of can get the green, the eye socket right around the green, the brighter that's going to pop. And I'll turn this in a second to show you. Again, I don't want to get this super, super dark because then it's going to look like a skull. And if it does in the end, that's, you know, whatever. That's cool. Like we were just talking about. The painting's going to kind of tell you what's going on. There we go. So now I'll turn him and show you the difference. So see how that eye like now pops right out? Even more creepy than it was before. So that's what we got. Nice, Grumpy. And that's the other thing too, you know, you guys and girls who are doing this, who are kind of like, you know, finding your way. We're all finding our way, but if you're really, you know, kind of new and you feel frustrated, please, please, please know that everyone shares the same frustration you have. Other people make it look easy because they're farther along that path, maybe, but I feel that same frustration that you guys are feeling. Every other artist feels that same frustration. So don't let it slow you down. In fact, use it the other way. Really use it to kind of like fire yourself up. And like I said, the moment you say, hey, wow, I made it, then you can be scared. You know what I mean? It's like if you feel like, oh man, I made it, I'm doing everything I need to do. Yeah, then you have a problem. Then you have a serious problem. Then you need to go find other artists that are kicking your butt. You know what I mean? That are doing what you really want to do and you don't have it down yet. That's what you need to do. Because you always want to be on your back foot. You know what I mean? All right. Taking off one of my many sweatshirts because I get fired up. I can't wait for spring. I can't wait for spring. All right. So that's looking good. I'm happy with that. So now that I've got his eyes pretty much where I want them, I'm going to leave that there and I'm going to start working around the outside to kind of catch everything else up. And I've got black in here, but there's not a whole bunch of it. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to jump back to that gray. I gotta stop putting these things in the wrong spot. By just adding a couple drops of white to this. I said a couple drops of white to this. Brian Moore, World War II tank. Frustration is my middle name. Ian, I'm right there with you, pal. Like I said, I call these paintings tractor pulls because that's what they are, you know? It's like, it seems like the farther on you go, the less you know, you know? It's the Dunning-Kruger effect, if you're into psychology. You know, it's when we start, we learn a little bit and we feel like we're an expert. And then the more we learn, the more we realize we don't know. And then you get to a point where like you know a lot, but you still realize that there's a lot to learn. And that's where you want to be. All right, so I've added some white to this and now I got a nice dark gray again. Too much alcohol makes me feel cool. Makes it feel cooler than it actually is. Makes sense. Nice. Maybe I should. Yeah, actually, isn't that what saved a lot of the passengers on the Titanic? They figured they were going to die, so they got wasted, and then it lowered the temperature on their blood or something, and they were able to be in the cold water for longer. Or is that just an urban myth? You have to let me know. This might be too light. Nope, it isn't. It's perfect. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to build off of the eye area and just add a bunch of these like skin, you know, kind of folds and flaps. I still don't know what I'm going to do with his mouth. I may just kind of let that do its own thing, you know, whatever it looks like, it looks like. You know, I'll just start working on it and see what develops. And I definitely want to have like a huge like stitched scar on the back of his head. So that's going to happen. Yeah. Wait, what'd I miss? Brian. Oh, there we go. The clear on Michael's painting. Yeah. Oh, and in case anyone was wondering, I think I'm going to use, I used 2K clear on the little snowman that I did for Mike DeBella. I think for this guy, I'm going to use the high gloss UVLS. Because I think that's going to move a little bit differently than the 2K clear, which will be nice. So that's what I was thinking for this guy. Yeah, so these little wrinkles on the side of his head are just accentuating his creepy, tweaked out eyes. So that's the way we're going to do this. I feel so Doug Dorr-like now. Doug is always working on cool, like, things he finds at, like, flea markets and stuff. Before I die, I will own one of his cool tools. I always seem to miss them, though. You know, so what that is Doug Dorr. If you're not following Doug Dorr, follow Doug Dorr, Door. He pinstripes and paints all kinds of stuff, and he loves to go to like flea markets and pick up weird things, and then do these crazy pinstripe painting things on them. So he's been known. I think he's done almost 2,000 of them, or over 2,000. Gary knows about him. I think Gary might have a cool tool. So he takes a big old tool, and then he pinstripes the crap out of it, mounts it on a board, and they're in a series, so they're all numbered and everything. And he's been doing them for quite a while, so I gotta get me a cool tool at some point. Yeah, Gary, I don't know. I put it out there. If we're gonna bid on it, or if we're just gonna, like, if I'm gonna finish it and then put it up, but it will be available. I'll put it on the site. But if you guys, you know, if the consensus is to bid on it tonight, I'm okay with that too. We just gotta kind of figure it out. I know I won't finish it tonight. There's a bunch of stuff I want to do to this, but you know, I'll post it when it's done. I won't do a time lapse on this guy because it's just because what you're seeing, you know, it's a lot of moving around, and that doesn't make for a very great time lapse. What am I going to do with his hair? What does that look like? I'm going to do the egg is the brain. I was going to do like squirting brains coming out of his head right there, but the Easter egg is going to be brains, so I don't want to do that. Let me think about that for a second. Michael. Nice. Gary is a voracious bidder. Yeah, I'm going to go around the hair thing. I got to think about it for a second. I don't know what I'm going to do with that yet. But it'll come to me. Again, it's a conversation, right? Now, if you're having trouble spraying, this is for the airbrushers. If you're having difficulty spraying white and black, 4050 is going to be your best friend in the world. It's UVLS. Where's my bottle? I said, where's my bottle? Yeah, here it is. This one. So it's UVLS gloss. It's 4050. This stuff is amazing. Now, again, I know the new reducer helps a lot too, but this stuff, I don't know what I'd do without this. It really helps those difficult colors spray really, really well. It does make them more transparent. That's the thing you got to deal with, so you got to slow down with them. But I'd rather have a paint I can control that's more transparent than a paint I can't control that's really opaque. So that's what this stuff does. It's designed as a clear, but I use it all the time, all the time, just to kind of smooth things out. So yeah, keep that in mind. Kyle bids 3 carats. All right, so we're bidding. We're bidding. So Patrick has it 75. So we'll do that. And then whoever has the high bid at the end of the feed will win it. And then I always give the right of, what that means is you get right of first refusal at your high bid. So that way, what I'll do is when I'm done with it, I'll show it to you. I'll send you a message, and or I'll post it. You can look at it. If you love it, you're the one who gets it. If not, then I'll go to the next highest bidder and so on and so forth. I bid 3 dozen eggs. So what Gary just bid is about $1,100, which is nice. Now we're in Northeast Ohio, so there's a lot of people with chickens around here, and there are a lot of sold out signs, even in the home farmer people. It is crazy, crazy, crazy. Craziness with the eggs. It's like COVID toilet paper. Now, the other good thing too is if you're bidding and you haven't bought anything from me, the website actually makes it super easy if you do win your bid. There's a million ways to pay. So what I do is I just put it up as an item just for you, and then you can use PayPal or credit card or all kinds of different things. So. Yeah, right, exactly, Brian. They couldn't give eggs away last year. This black gray has a little bit of green in it from the eyes, and I love it. It's awesome. All right, what am I doing with the mouth? I got to figure out what I'm doing with the mouth, and I got to figure out what I'm doing with the blob of bunny hair. But the eyes are right where I want them. It's very Palpatine-like. Bobby, what's up, buddy? Yeah, it's all right, Bobby. All right, so I think I'm just going to kind of just go with the skin flaps around his mouth. I was going to try to change some stuff. I know I am going to, well, I'll do that right now. His teeth are going to be kind of yellowed and nasty, zombie-ish, so that I can get that started right now. Oops, you guys can't see that because I turned that off. ISS crossing in front of the moon. Rick, that's an awesome suggestion. Love that. All right, so what I'm going to take some white, and I'm just going to start to kind of, same thing, I'm going to block in the teeth. These teeth aren't going to be white in the end, but this kind of starts to neutralize the gray a little bit. So that when I go to put that like gross yellow on it, it's got something to stand on. Lovely. Steve Parsons, what is up, buddy? Good morning. All right, so let's work on his mouth. So I've got the white in there, that's drying. So I'm going to start by, same thing, I'm going to accentuate what's already there and just kind of add to it with all these weird skin flaps. Definitely going to have some, I should switch back to white real quick. Yeah, let me do that. Oh no, do I have white in the other brush, or is that yellow? Yellow. Let me switch back to white in this brush. Kyle, my guess is Honey is probably working. She is, she's doing so much. Which is a good point. I should maybe keep track of time, because it is. It's time to give a painting away. Thank you, Kyle. You inadvertently did Honey's job for her. Let's give away painting. That went really quick. Too quick. Let me, all right, I'll turn him a little bit so you can see him face on. That's how he's looking so far. And that's the far away look, equally as disturbing. All right, let's give away painting. Yeah, I guarantee Honey's saving lives and doing fireman things. All right, I'll show you the paintings again, and we'll give one away, I think. Methinks. There it is. That's what I wanted. All right. So your 3 paintings for this week come from Brian Moore, who asked for a Tesla, which is fun. Lightning is always fun with airbrushes. Next is Mike Stevenson, asked for a 63 Jeep Gladiator. It's also fun. And finally, the multiple entry winner, Ian Hart, Michael McClung, and Steve at least asked for Pink Floyd's Flying Pig. Which there he is right there, flying over the power plant, doing his animals thing. And those are your 3 for tonight. So we have 15 people on the list. Yes, Brian, the points are updated. So they are rolling. I will get the graph up very shortly to show you guys where you're at. And then again, one of the things I'm going to do is I got to go back into the Facebook side of it, look to see who is close to the points. And I think I'm just going to have a list. Thank you for reminding me. I'm just going to have a list of winners, and you guys will all be able to just pick your paintings. So that's what I was thinking about doing with that. All right, let me see what I got here. Dot, and then this one, and then this one, and this one. All right, that one. So we got 15 people on the fine list today. Before I do that, I like to show you the list. So there's, you guys know what's up. I'll jump back to this, show you that. So here's your list. FTW is Steve Butkus, just in case you're wondering. I do use your Facebook names, which is why I had to reset the points, because some people have totally different names, and I wanted to make sure that, you know, we had it all right. So there's your list, all 15 on there. Ready to rock. And your winner tonight, as soon as I can find my mouse, is number 3. Do you remember who it is? Oh, and she's not here. The lovely Honey. There we go. Honey Rivera is number 3. Congratulations, Honey. All right, so the way it normally works is the person who wins gets to choose one of these 3 first before anyone else. And then if they don't choose one of these, then they all go up on the website, but Honey's not here, so these are all going to go up on the website. So if there's one you want, check my website right after the feed, and you can get a great deal on those. So there you go, Honey. Congratulations. I know you'll probably catch up, and I can get a hold of you at some point this week. Let you know. There we go. Now, if the rules go, if you win, you are ineligible to win another painting from the giveaway for that calendar year, except for the point system. That's a new thing. So if you, I can't switch cameras because it's Pelican. The way the points work, real simple, is if you get 2 points for doing certain things during the feed. If you make a suggestion, you get 2 points. If you give any kind of super chat, that's 2 points. And if you've made 2 consecutive, if you made a suggestion last week and this week, you get 2 points for that too. So it's kind of a streak thing. So you can get a maximum of 6 points. When you hit 80 points, which we keep track of, but when you hit 80 points, you get a painting. You get to choose one. So that's the idea behind that. And you can get as many paintings as, you know, every time you hit 80 points, you get another painting. So that's how that works. Yar. All right. Let's do a little bit more on this creepy dude. And yeah. And I think, I don't know, I haven't kept track, but I'm assuming Pat still has the win here at 75 for this little guy. So if that sticks, then that's good. We'll probably go for another, you know, half hour. Yeah, half hour. Yeah, we'll do that. So I was going to switch to white because I got to pull out some highlights because I didn't do the highlights first on all the cheek areas. So I want to get that done. Yeah, thank you, Mike. Mike not only is a great guy for mentioning that by hitting the like, and if you're not subscribed, please do that. Mike is also a brand new member of What Could Go Wrong, which gets you a 10% discount on anything on my website, anything, including full-blown paintings. So It can save you a bunch of money. But you also get early access to the time-lapse Tuesday video. As soon as I put that up, which is usually the end of the week, you get access to that. You get to see it before everyone. So do that. Now, I am going to switch this back because I need to say something. And I need to see you guys for this. For those who have been amazing and signed up to my baby Patreon page too, that was one of the things that I set up this year or the end of last year that I really wanted to get going. The big perk for that originally was the you got your own open studio. So when that ends, I'm not sure that I'll be able to do another one. But what I decided to do as a bonus for, or as the perk for being a Patreon member, is I'm going to start going through all the time-lapse videos one by one, and I'm going to overdub them with a description of what I was doing in the time-lapse. So those videos are only about 8 to 10 minutes long, so it's an easy kind of thing to kind of digest real quick. But for just the Patreon members, I'm going to explain what I'm doing. So it'll be like this little quick how-to, and you'll get all the backstory on it, and it'll only be available on Patreon. So that's the big thing coming up. I just need to get I need a really good quality overdub mic, and I've been dragging my feet on that. So that's coming, as well as other stuff for Patreon. I'm planning on having a Discord channel, and the Patreon members will have access to that and all that fun stuff. But yeah. Yes, thank you, Bobby. That helps too a lot. Commenting and doing fun stuff. All right, so let's do a little bit of white here, or a bright color, so that I can kind of get the highlights in on those gross skin flaps on his cheeks. Oops. Come on, man. What's up with this? There we go. All right. It wasn't really working, the white. All right. So again, this is just a little bit of white, a little bit of black. Gives me a really, really pale gray. I don't want to use 100% white on this, just because it's going to be too strong. You know, that's the straight up white and straight up black are the really last colors to go on here. And actually I just made it too dark, but we're going to try it anyway. So if you use straight up white or straight up black, you can't go any farther. You know, there's not much you can do. So by kind of keeping that, let's see if this is, I think this is exactly the same color as the Autoborn sealer. It is. Son of a gun. I added one more drop of black thinking I was being tricky. And it was too much. So we'll add some white. There we go. That's better. And I think we're far enough into the feed that I can be thankful that we didn't have, you know, any weird upload problems. So I'm super happy about that. This is also too bright. It's okay to struggle. Oh boy. All right. So again, 4050 is your friend. I'm just adding a bunch of 4050 and reducer to this. So this will spray a lot better when I do this again, for real. How much 4050 ad do you paint? Kelly, it's an awesome question. So my go-to lately has been this one here, which is 1 part 4050 to 5 parts reducer. So I use this just like reducer. I add this to everything as the, whatever the hot sauce mics or whatever it is. Yeah, so this I use a lot, but I do have different versions of it. Like I have a thinner version that's 1 part 4050 to 10 parts reducer, but I only use that for really super high detail. And then I also have a version that's 1 part paint to 2 parts reducer if I really want that to be kind of, you know, I don't want to reduce it that much. That's the one I use. For 1 to 5, I think I use all the time. I think that's the most used one. Thank you, Gary. That's what I was thinking. It's Frank's Red Hot, right? How much do you think 4050 to clear? Thin. Yeah, that's it. Oh, to clear, like if I'm using it as a clear coat, I follow the directions 100%, Brian. So no more than 15% with the 40/50 if you're using it as a clear. Like when I go to clear this with the 40/50 gloss, I'll use a bigger spray gun and I'll reduce it only what they recommend. Because what happens is if you're using it as a clear, you want the correct formula because it won't harden the right way. It won't be as strong as it could be if you over reduce it. So when I'm using it with paint, I'm not worried about, its ability to like stick. You know what I mean? Because I'm just using it to smooth out the paint. But if I'm using it as a clear coat, like the way it's supposed to be, then I follow the directions. That's really, 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 really important. All right, so yeah, so now this is spraying much, much better. It's not blobbing out on me anymore. You guys can see it, right? Yeah. Yeah, so 10 to 15%. 15 is about the most I'll go if I'm using like the Grex with the 0.7 in it. If I'm like that's what I'll probably do with this one. The Grex is really nice because it's really small for a spray gun. It's got a little fan cap, but it's only got a 0.7 millimeter nozzle in it. So that's great for these tiny items. However, it's too small to just leave it at 10%. It won't really spray 40/50 at 10% reduction. You need like a 1.2, like the LPH 50 or something to spray that thick. And again, a regular, even an LPH 50, that spray gun is going to be too big for this item. It's just going to hose it down. So you don't want that. But again, I try to leave it as close to the real, reduction that they recommend when I'm using it like a clear. Nice. What do I got in there? Gray. Just for fun. So you guys get the idea. I'm going to do the same thing for his cheeks that I did all around his eyes. Again, they're going to kind of mimic the shape of his cheeks to kind of push that out. But again, I want that skin feeling. I don't want it to look like a skull. And then I'm going to do some drool on his mouth and his teeth will be nasty yellow and blah, blah, blah. But I figured for tonight, since we got a few minutes left, we'll start that scar on the back of his head, which will be fun. Mona Lisa Zombie. Ryan, believe it or not, I've already done that painting. That was a while ago when we were doing ABU, and Mike Learn had his website up. They would do a panel swap every year, and I did a zombie Mona Lisa, and it actually was won by someone who became a friend of mine later. And a great Canadian artist. She's great, Annie Lavoie. And yeah, so she won that one. So yeah, funny you say that. I haven't thought of that painting in a while. All right, so let's see what we can do here. So for the scar, what I want to do is I want to start, again, the scar is going to be pretty, like, noticeable. Like, it's going to be pretty sharp. I don't want it straight down. I want to kind of like move this around. And what I'm doing right now is I'm thinking not about the actual scar. I'm thinking about the shading. Like what I want one side of it to be a little bit darker. So it seems like it kind of cuts in. And then down the bottom, I want it a little bit tighter. So that it seems like maybe the top of it wasn't stitched very well. That kind of thing. After I get done with the painting, I usually lock it down with 40/50, then I do the rattle can clear. Yeah, Michael, that's perfect. And I've been using a lot of that Otterborn sealer, the transparent, to do the same thing. It works really, really well. I'm impressed on how clear it is. That was my big worry, that it would add a milky or a fogginess to it, but it just doesn't. It's really, really great. I'm happy. All right, so I've got the first little bit of shading on there. Now I want to add that same highlight that we were just kind of doing. And we'll do that on the other side, on this side. Kind of give it that feeling that it's like pushed up a little bit. Now, the next part, here's the thing. Like we were talking about, like last week I did the whole leprechaun all with airbrush. It was all airbrushed. I don't know what that means. It is what it is. However, you can use paintbrush in your work. It's totally okay. It doesn't make you a failure, and I do it all the time, so keep that in mind. Let me switch over to, is that going to work? Yeah, it is. I'll grab a little bit of black here, and I'm going to put the stitches in now. Because here's the thing. These stitches are really, really tiny. So if I airbrush them, they're going to look fine. I mean, they look okay, but they're still going to be fuzzy, even with the super crazy Micron B. Because when you have a brush like this, the Winsor & Newton, this little double zero, I can get these little stitch lines super thin. You know, way thinner than I could with the airbrush, and much sharper. And that's what I want. You know, this is the look I want. I don't want these lines to be fuzzy. I want them to be nice and sharp, like real little pieces of thread. So the point here is use whatever works, you know. And we'll kind of make these a little bit wider as we get up, like they aren't quite holding. Oops, kind of ran out of juice there. Yeah, that's way better. That if I airbrushed them, I mean, you know, like I said, they'd be all right. And then at the end of it, I'd be like, oh yeah, they don't look great, but I airbrushed them. And then what does that mean? I don't know what that means, you know? It's like, good for you, I guess. But they don't look good, so there's that. Same thing with the highlights on this, like the little where the skin is kind of pulled up. Again, I could airbrush those, and I'll probably add a little bit of airbrushing to them to kind of soften them up. But to get these little tiny, tiny dots with the airbrush is just, they're going to be soft, you know, at the scale. And that's not what I want. The other thing I want to do, like that original line that I put in wasn't really super great. Like I should have done a little bit darker. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of nasty green in there. So what I did was I mixed up a little bit of viridian green, some white, and a little bit of the yellow to give me kind of like a neon green. So what I can do now is I can kind of add the inside of that scar. Now obviously this should have been done before I did the stitches, but it's going to work because I want it to. So there's the first round of that. Let that dry. Then I'm going to grab some more viridian, a little bit of black, a little bit of yellow, give myself a good deeper green, give myself some reducer to kind of take out the bite of that, and then I can keep going with that. Oops, a little hair in there. Here we go. So this transparent darker green, I can kind of go in and darken that up and add a little bit of texture to that. But that gives me my oozy, pussing opening wound. This is too much fun. All right, I'm going to take straight yellow now and just add a few little hits of this straight yellow as kind of little highlights, and this will finish up that gross, pussy, whatever is going on here. There you go. All right, so what happens here is, again, more of the same. There'll be some, you know, stretch marks on the back of his head to kind of indicate that his skin isn't quite sitting on there right. I don't know what I'm going to do with the blob. If I can't decide, I'm going to leave it as hair. I'll just do it probably green. Kind of go with the whole thing. The inside of his ears are going to be this ear waxy yellow. So I'm not going to do pink. I want it gross. So there'll be greens and yellows in there too. And again, the highlight of this is going to be the Easter egg. I'm going to paint that like a brain. And then I'm going to change these will be in probably red. And instead of Easter, it'll say Fester. So it'll be Fester. I think that's what I'm going to do. I think that's what I got. So there we go. All right. I'm assuming Patrick owns this. Is that correct? I didn't see any other bids. So congratulations. If it is you, Pat, I will go back and double check. But I think the high bid was 75, which is super awesome. Thank you so much. You will get way more than 75 bucks out of this. I will make sure of that because you're an awesome human being. And yeah, that's good. So there we go. All right. So what do we got this week? Let me jump back here to this one. Move some of these around. And I'll jump back to this one. So this week, Tuesday, tomorrow is the time-lapse video at 10 a.m. You can watch the end of the leprechaun painting from last week being finished in a time-lapse. And then Wednesday, we have the Tokyo painting. If you want some more abuse, that's the big-time Tokyo painting, which is a lot of fun. So we get that going on. And then we're back in it on Monday. Again, if you want to come in next Monday, I'm starting a new razor blade painting. So what I might do is I might start that beforehand, and then you guys kind of jump in halfway. Or I may just start it with you guys. So I'm not sure yet, but we'll figure it out. But that's what I got. So again, thank you, tech gods, for another decent uploaded YouTube live feed. That's wonderful. I love that. And again, if I lost comments, I think I just got bumped out or whatever, but I'll check them. If Pat won, congratulations. If someone outbid Pat at the last minute, I will double check that in the comments as well. It'll be in the live chat. And whoever has the highest bid in the live chat will win it. Don't bid, please, in the comments. It would have already been closed out. So thank you for that, though. You guys are sweet. And that's what I got. So for Steve Leahy and Monday Night Live, I love you guys. You guys are amazing. And I will catch you all next week. All right. Have a good one.